Happy evening. Welcome to Mahipati Talks. Because of COVID-19, schools stopped working, colleges stopped working, but learning never stopped. As you know that we have series of intellectual talks. As a part of this, we have got Sarita Tiwari ma'am, who has got rich experience. And she's going to talk on the topic emphasis on reading for better communication skills. It's my privilege to introduce ma'am. She has been into corporate and also in training field. And ma'am has been very dynamic, and she has been training various sectors of the people on the areas like language skills, etiquette, and all. And her competencies are she's diligent and target centric and result oriented professional. She's an excellent multitasking person, and she's also been into higher leadership positions in various MNCs. She's an effective communicator with leadership skills. She's also a problem solving person, and she has got good analytical skills. We are glad that ma'am has accepted to deliver the talk on this effective reading skills to improve our communication skills. Ma'am has pursued her management course, MBA from Osmani University, finance as her specialization, and also she has pursued uh, MA English from IFLU, English and Foreign Language University, which is known for the language skills in specific English and foreign languages. Ma'am has pursued her MA English from the nation level. I can say that world renowned university IFLU. Ma'am has got a diverse professional experience, more than a decade. Worked with the BPO training sector, and she has been for some time with HSBC and Prism Softech Private Limited, uh, and Geetanjali Devshala. And she was the college topper in both intermediate first and second year in accountancy and taxation. And she has been awarded medals and proficiency certificates for the same. And there are many things. No, she was an active participant in NCC and attended many camps in various states of the country. And it goes on. Okay, now I stop here and I invite today's resource person, Mrs. Sarita Tiwari ma'am, to deliver the talk on emphasis on reading for better communication skills. The buzzword is communication skills. Now I invite ma'am to talk on the topic emphasis on reading for better communication skills.
A very good evening, everyone. I would like to sincerely thank Dr. Mahipati for having me here. Thank you, sir. As Mahipati sir has mentioned, the topic of this session is going to be emphasis on reading for better communication skills. So initially, I would like to start the discussion or the session giving you a brief idea as to what all are the areas that I'm going to discuss. Please remember, this is a brief up, the initial brief up. First, let me speak about communication. As Sir said, it's a buzzword. Communication is a buzzword from past few decades. We are all aware that after the subject knowledge assessment, every employer would look in his prospective employee for communication skills. And this has become an area wherein the candidates are eliminated or chosen, either positive or negative. And this has become a criteria to choose an employee. Okay. So what is communication? Communication, it can be put on very simple words, wherein you are interacting with your family, friends, relatives, neighbors, colleagues. If it is so simple that it's just we are interacting with our related people, we are just speaking to them and expressing our ideas, then why is it that has been termed as a skill? Looking into this aspect as to why is communication considered as a skill these days, see, in olden days, the population was very less, so was the competition. And learned people were also very few. People have taken up the businesses those their families have followed, and very few have gone for educational sector. But these days, it's not the same. It's completely different from olden days, right? So these days, People are looking for more and more skills in a person. So communication has also become a skill these days. Okay. Now, as I said, in our brief up, I have spoken to you about what is communication. Now I would like to tell you, I am not speaking about communication in our native language, that is our mother tongue or the regional languages of India. No, I'm speaking about communication through a foreign language. Foreign language, English. English is deemed to be a foreign language. Why deemed to be a foreign language? Because we have lived with English for more than 200 years. That is more than 20 decades. We have lived with English and we have adopted English as good as our national language. Any government office or any procedural work that carries on is through the medium of language, which is English. So definitely, our communication is now related to the language English, which is not our native language, and we are not the native speakers. Coming to speaking our native language, we are pros in that. We are quite confident in it. We have rich vocabulary in our native language, but so is not the case with everybody in English. I hope you all agree with me. We need to put in some special efforts in order to improve as good as a native speaker speaks his own language. Correct. So now, communication through the language English. Now I would like to relate this to reading. As I said, we need to put in some special efforts to improve our language skills. How do we do that? Language skills, English, please remember. All right, then how do we do this? See, about improving your language skills, there are so many areas like your LSRW that you see, listening, speaking, reading, writing. These are the skills that you have to adopt to master language, master any language for that, specifically English. You keep listening to people speaking in English. That is where you watch movies, you listen to music in English. Great. That's going to help you in many ways. And then comes reading. Reading is I feel reading is going to be a comprehensive concept which can help you in your improving this language skill. While reading may be for pleasure or purpose oriented or an oriented reading or conscious reading. When you're reading for pleasure, you need to read long. You have to make it as a habit when you're reading for pleasure. Going to bed, probably you read 3 to 4 pages every day. That's a beautiful habit. That's a productive habit which is going to fetch you beautiful results. And if you're consciously reading, this is going to help you a lot. How do you consciously read? We will discuss when we are discussing this in detail. For this, I would like to share my screen. I hope you are able to see the screen. Okay. See, here I have emphasized reading and communication skills in the title. To go ahead with the slide, here I can show you the skills to succeed, wherein communication stands on 90% of your life. I mean, in your life, you have to, master communication.
Ma'am, sorry to interrupt. Your screen is not visible.
Is it, sir? Just a minute.
Yeah. You can share the screen again.
Yeah. I'm so sorry. Oh, yes. Done, sir?
You can go for the full slideshow, ma'am. Slideshow. Or else F5 presentation. Slideshow.
Are you able to view this, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Can I go ahead?
Yes, ma'am. Please.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, looking at this slide, we can make out how important is the role of communication in our lives. That's at the top. And then comes reading. This is because this is going to help you coordinate yourself with your communication skills. The importance of communicating. Communication skills don't just happen. You will need to practice. You will need to practice. What do you think about this? How do you practice? As I lay more emphasis on reading, definitely I would tell you, you need to practice communication skills through reading. Whenever you're reading, you need to put in some conscious efforts as to register all the new things that you are learning through reading. The framing of the sentence structure, the vocabulary, everything has to sink in when you're reading. And this, when you're reading, the knowledge that you have seen can be helpful in your communication skills. When you read, you become aware, you get more knowledge, you become more confident. And then when you're, initiating any conversation, and please remember, when you're reading more, when you have more knowledge, you will definitely be the first person to initiate any conversation because you would like to share that information with your peer group. And you would grab every opportunity that knocks your door when you have good knowledge. It shows when you're speaking to people through reading, whatever knowledge you have attained, it definitely shows. And when people know that you're quite knowledgeable, you have good communication skills that you have adopted from reading, definitely opportunities are going to knock at your door and you are definitely to become a very successful person in your life. Communication can start and keep relationships strong. Communication can start, as I just told you, because of your knowledge and because of your awareness, which has come through reading, not only about the language skill, about the current affairs, or maybe anything about your subject knowledge, your subject expertise, anything. You know, even if you have your subject expertise, you're a fine individual in your own subject, you have great finesse in your subject, but then to communicate that, you need good vocabulary. You know, you need correct sentence structure, proper sentence structure. Your grammar has to be in place, isn't it? So to have all these in your basket, definitely you should go for reading books. Reading books of wide range. Communication helps grow. First, it has something else after that, after grow. But first, let me stop at grow. And definitely, we all wish to grow. We all would like to grow, prosper in our lives through our education, through our career. And communication is definitely going to help us. Lacking communication skills can hamper your prospects, your career prospects, your opportunities. But when you're prospering, you're glowing with communication skills, there is nothing that can stop you. Now, going further with after grow, communication helps people grow closer. When you speak to people with shared interests, the common group, your communication skills are going to keep you ahead of them. They may possess knowledge, but you possess knowledge and communication skills. So definitely you are going to be the person who is ahead of the group. Communication is vital to many areas of your life. As we have been speaking, it's vital in every area. If I have to speak about school work, I would restrict the language to be English. While in families and relationships, it can be any language. You can as well adopt English. Going further, language command for better communication skills. As I was discussing, a good command over the language, over the English language through which you want to communicate to the world, it's very important to gain command over the language, because language is the medium of communication. That is the only source through which you can communicate. Of course, communication can be verbal and non-verbal, but here we are speaking about only verbal communication. So language is going to be the medium of communication, which is going to enable you to communicate to the world about your ideas, about your opinions. You can voice out. Then comes vocabulary enrichment. This I feel is very much important. Vocabulary enrichment gives you or keeps you ready with the right word at the right time. A right word at the right time, and you are expressed effectively and efficiently, and you will reap the results of this definitely. Next comes grammatical skills in your language. The way you're speaking, your sentence structure is very, very important. If your grammatical skills, or grammar skills, are, whatever you say may turn back upon you rather than helping you. It may even put you into troubles if your grammar skills are not in place. This is not to scare you. This is just to keep you ready. This is just to give you the aids through which you can attain command over your language skills. All right. So idioms and phrases. See, just speaking the language with words can serve the purpose. You can attain the results of what you want to. But then to polish your language, that would be reaping you great results. Everyone would like to raise the bar, isn't it? Once you're doing something step by step, definitely you would like to move ahead in your life. Definitely when you enter an organization, you're not going to stop there. You're going to definitely seek promotions. The same way, when you're starting your exercise of gaining command, attaining command over any language, you definitely have to take a leap and depth into it. You have to go in deep. So I suggest idioms and phrases. That depends on you, but I suggest this. Same as quotations again. Then comes the very, very important part, the pronunciation in the language. So let's see these things, these factors which I have enlisted to gain or attain command in a language for better communication skills, one at a time. Language as a medium of communication. Here we are specifically speaking about English as a medium of communication. I'm going on reiterating it. Language is a medium of interaction, exchanging ideas, understanding feelings of others. Learning a language is all about knowing how to communicate with different sections of people. We use the same language to communicate with our principal, with faculty, with peer group. But the choice of words change. Our tone of language changes. So these are all the things which you have to imbibe in your language. It's not just the words, the grammar, the pronunciation, but of course, when you're speaking, your tone, your intonation, your accent, your pronunciation, everything has to be in place for very effective communication. Now, since English being a foreign language, that is, we are not the native speakers of the language, as I have discussed earlier. So we need to put some special efforts in order to gain fluency and command over the language. And this has to be a continuous process. Once you imbibe this in yourself, that spreads and infects into your family as well. You help your further generations as well. With the collection of books, because please remember, I am emphasizing reading here. Whatever you're going to gain as a factor of gaining command over the language, it's all with the help of reading. I strongly suggest everyone to read Raja Ram Mohan Roy's letter to Lord Amherst, the year 1820, the beginning of the modern education in India, which would certainly motivate us to polish our language skills. Please go through this letter by Raja Ram Mohan Roy. He addressed it to Lord Amherst, requesting him. What happened is, in 1823, the British government, which was ruling then, had come up with an idea to start a Sanskrit college in Calcutta. Then it was called as Calcutta. So it was Raja Ram Mohan Roy, who is regarded as father of modern education. He is he has got a great thought process. This is way back in 1823, just imagine. he has written a letter in English to Lord Amherst requesting him to start a college which teaches math and science, physics, anatomy, and all these subjects to Indians and the youth of India, which makes them think, evolve, and grow as much as England is growing, because they had then started a college there. So Raja Ram Mohan Roy requested Lord Amherst to start a college which teaches maths and science to Indians, to the Indian youth. Look at the thought process. And this letter was written so beautifully. You will be spellbound after reading this letter. And this is going to motivate you to a great extent. Because we live in a generation, we live in an era wherein technology is at our fingertips. We have dictionaries, we order it on Amazon tonight, and tomorrow morning it will be at your doorstep. But do you really think he must have possessed any number of books as easily as possible that we can be available with today? Absolutely not. They must have struggled so much. But then in the year 1823, he has written such a beautiful letter. I suggest you to please read it. Going ahead, vocabulary enrichment. Vocabulary enrichment is very much essential for efficient and effective communication. This is because if you don't get a proper word to speak while you are communicating with your superiors, if you are in a working environment, with your faculty, you have a doubt. You need to for the exams at any cost. But while you're speaking, probably I don't think we must be interacting in our native languages in colleges or in workplaces much often. So assuming that we are speaking only in English, you should be at loss of words if your vocabulary is not in excuse me, if your vocabulary is not in place. Improving your vocabulary gives you credibility with your peers and confidence with your superiors. A stronger vocabulary also makes it easier to communicate with your friends and family about matters both important and trivial. Improving your vocabulary takes time and effort. This I see because suppose you are reading a page tonight, a page of a book, of a novel, or any article which has a content of one page. Mostly probably sir, am I connected?
Yes, ma'am, you are connected.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry for the disturbance. Improving your vocabulary takes time and effort. You can do it on an incremental basis and see improvement almost immediately. What do I mean by incremental basis? Generally, whenever we start something new, a new venture, a new exercise, generally we start with a slight take up, isn't it? And gradually we keep increasing the dose. So that is what is suggested for in reading. The very first day, don't try to read all the entire book. Probably you can, that's up to you. But you cannot assimilate entire book. There is no point in doing that. So definitely you can go for gradual increment in your attempt to improve your vocabulary. Building a better vocabulary of English language is one of the most important things to do. Adequate vocabulary is the basic need to manage almost all the aspects of everyday life efficiently. While by building educated vocabulary, one can gain confidence in speaking publicly. I hope you all agree with me when I say when you're trying to gain command over your language, there is something inside that you feel confident about yourself. Whenever there is a conversation, you will feel, yes, I can also take part in it. Whereas you don't read, you don't listen to anything in English, you know, and then you are taken aback, you never go ahead, you never take the conversation in English. You're more comfortable with your native language, and you always try to converse with your friends or peer group only in that language. But wherein you take up reading, you start, and you would definitely like to show off as well at times. Don't mind that word. Professional field you belong to, the ability of using the right word at the right place will provide you an added value, while it's of great help in maintaining effective and convenient communication. This I can quote an example of your own faculty, a faculty which has great oratory skills, who speaks very well, or any of your friends for that matter, from school, from college, or your neighbor, whoever. The person who has good oratory skills is like looked up to. We admire those people. We tend to learn something from them. Oh, he speaks so well, should be something like that. I don't know. I wonder how could she speaks, give such a great lecture, isn't it? So this is nothing but they have the practice of reading, which shows in their oratory skills. Improving vocabulary is possible with reading extensively and consistently. Okay, going to the next. As I spoke to you earlier, it's about grammar. Good grammar skills help you communicate clear and concise. You don't have to repeat the same word in the same sentence. If your grammar is in place, you're going to be very precise with what you want to convey. Grammar is the groundwork of clear communication. People tend to say, "So, shall I repeat again?" You got my point. Repeating itself is saying again, saying something again. Do I have to repeat again after repeat? This is something tricky, isn't it? Grammar is tricky. So for this again, you need to be very conscious while you're reading. At times, see, as I told you, if you want immediate results, you need to be very conscious in your efforts, in your reading skills. Okay. And if you are like at the age of you're still in school, you have just entered into your intermediate or something, and now you want to improve your command over the language and thereby your communication skills for speaking, then you can start with the pleasure reading. What happens in pleasure reading is your mind is not stressed out, or your mind is not laying too much emphasis on the result. It's just absorbing whatever you're reading. So that would involve the sentence structure, the grammar skills, the vocabulary, everything, except for pronunciation. Because in the books, the pronunciation syntax is not available to you. You have to go for the dictionary, or you have to hear on YouTube Emma saying. The better the grammar, the clearer the message. The more likelihood of understanding the message's intent and meaning. When you speak error-free English, grammar error-free English, you're conveying your message to the point. You're not beating around the bush. You're to the point. And people will look up to you for this. You would have great presentation skills whenever you are employed, or why you're employed. Even at colleges, you do present so many things. You do participate in elocutions, debates. And that is one more thing I would like to suggest. If it is targeting the engineering students are great. They are quite hardworking. This I'm not saying just like that, because I know I have upcoming studying her engineering. So I know how hardworking you all are. And once you set your mind at, nothing can stop you from achieving it, believe me. So I request you to take up reading as your passion, as your hobby. so that you can improve your public speaking skills, you improve your language command, so that you become quite confident and address a huge gathering. Once you address a huge gathering, there is no looking back. So reading certainly helps in improving one's grammar skills. We also need on LSRW for good grammar skills in language. We can find many students at graduation level and workplaces, and as well workplaces, point to be noted, struggling with grammar in English. Because possibly they must have always thought it's about the accent. You throw some accent and probably everything will be in place. Not at all. For accent as well, you need to know where the aspiration has to be placed. If the aspiration is at the wrong place, the person will be able to immediately catch that. So definitely not go for the wrong practices. If you look in this picture, it looked like there wasn't anything they could do. It's there. English is such a tricky language where the word is there. The pronunciation of THEIR is the same as pronunciation of THERE. But both mean completely different, isn't it? If I place there here, it's completely wrong. The there which has to be here is THERE. These silly mistakes, these trivial mistakes hamper your language skills. So please take a note of all these things. Idioms and phrases, as I told you, it's up to your choice. And if you want to go to an advanced level, you need to get through these idioms and phrases. See, as was told, I am a primary school teacher as of now working at Gitanjali. What we do is every year in each term, we introduce children right from class 4, sometimes right from below class 4 as well. Right from class 4, children are introduced to various idioms and phrases while reading, and specifically to write something about an idiom and phrase as well. So coming to idioms and phrases, learning to use common idioms and phrases will make your language skills sound more native. You can start by learning the very common ones. Example, a blessing in disguise, beating around the bush. What do you mean by a blessing in disguise? Possibly it was you had an appointment with someone, you wanted to go out. But no sooner you planned to go out than the rain started. It started raining. And then you get to understand the roads were completely clogged at the place where you were supposed to visit. And then the person from the other side gives you a call and says, no, please do not come, step out of your house. You're not required to come today. We postpone the meeting for tomorrow. Then you feel, oh my God, this rain has become a blessing in disguise. Isn't it? It was, in fact, you felt it rained at this time and this is stopping me to progress ahead. But then that has become a blessing. See, it has such a deep meaning. Whatever you want to say in so many words, you can just say in one idiom and one phrase. So learning or being aware of idioms and phrases is going to help you a lot in your communication skills. While a student engages himself in reading, he subconsciously registers such usages in communication. So again, conscious reading, please remember. So comes the vital part. Believe me, pronunciation is very, very important. You pronounce a word wrongly and you become a laughingstock. Definitely no one would like to be embarrassed. So for that, we need to definitely put efforts. These days, we are provided with so many facilities as apps on our own mobile phone at our fingertips. Whenever you come across a new word, search for meaning, take a phone, search for the meaning, just Google, search for the meaning. And at the same time, there is an icon which gives you as a speaker. Please click that and get to know the pronunciation immediately. Because English is such a tricky language. It's not the same with our native language. If I'm speaking about English or Hindi, or for that matter, probably I'm not very well aware of but I can vouch upon it. Probably any of the Indian regional languages may not be writing something and pronouncing something, but English does. We are all aware of it. N-O, no, and K-N-O-W is also no. And until someone tells you, you are not aware of that. I'm speaking about the person who is just started learning English, isn't it? So in this way, there are too many words in the list which need special attention to pronunciation. You understand? The phonetics, the linguistics play a major role in pronunciation. You don't have to get into the depth of linguistics. That's an ocean. So you don't have to get into the depth of linguistics, but of course you can do this exercise whenever you come across any new word. Please get to learn the meaning and also the pronunciation of the word. Whenever you're trying to understand the meaning of a word, understand the pronunciation as well. Your reading habits are going to be highly helpful to investigate the pronunciation. This will become a habit. Once you start doing it for 2 weeks, it becomes a habit and nothing can stop you from it. And when you start doing all these things, and when you're so conscious about your learning, about your attaining command over the language, definitely the day will come when someone is speaking something wrong in a language. Definitely you will immediately turn back, try to correct that person. You will not be able to bear. Okay. Now comes reading, which I have been advocating right from the beginning of the session, the emphasis of reading. Reading helps build your vocabulary, enhance your sentence structure abilities, and improve your overall communication skills. As you read, you will become more comfortable with the English language and be able to use it more confidently, both in oral communication and written work as well, which is a great boon. Yes. Discussing about my own personal experience, see, initially I have joined in class 2. I mean, not my class 2, I was teaching class 2, I mean to say, I'm sorry. I was teaching class 2. And then next year I was into class 3. And then now I'm into class 4. I'm teaching class 4. So now I have got a span of time to read the children with their reading skills, with their communication skills, with their public speaking skills. Even at all the educational institutions across, these days, a lot of emphasis is laid upon communication skills. So that is the reason too many colleges, too many schools are employing themselves into conducting competitions, activities. It's more of activities than education or than academics. See, this is again, it's about the importance of communication skills. In activities, children get to interact with each other. Children get to speak to each other. Children learn to express their ideas. When there is a project, you have a great idea in your mind. You have put it across on the table, and now you have to express it. You have to explain, demonstrate your idea. There comes in again communication skills, the speaking skills. The child in class 2 who was not very much able to speak confidently because he was at loss of words, once suggested to read books at night before bedtime. And because that is the age of formative years, and there's the foundation. So we take great care to establish a routine, a good routine in a child, so it can be held in their further education and their further years. So the child who was unable to read properly or communicate confidently, once he takes up reading books, he becomes quite confident in writing. This is just because of reading. Okay. I personally suggest, because this session is, I personally suggest reading newspaper. The newspaper is valued more because they provide content for daily conversations. Yes, of course. You need to keep yourself dressed with the current affairs, not only for your daily, when you're going to an interview as well. You have this very first round just to see, are you able to convey that topic can vary from any area. It may not be from your subject expertise, isn't it? So it's always better to read a newspaper. I mean, reading newspaper is going to keep you abreast with current affairs and also is going to give you good command over your language. Because what happens is, in a newspaper, a very polished language is used. I'm not speaking about specifically, suggest the Hindu. It uses very polished language and it gives very quality information, quality news, wherein you can depend upon. Newspaper in knowledge about current affairs and a source of new reading materials daily. You can improve your English speaking skills to a great extent if you regularly read newspapers. Okay, now we have learned about communication. We are speaking about communication in English language, and then we have spoken about how can this language skills be polished, be improved to communicate better, that is through reading. Now, once you have understood the importance of reading, I am sure you will definitely inculcate this habit. If you want immediate results, please read newspapers. Make it a very die-hard habit of reading newspapers. Please read newspapers, and then you find yourself to be more confident. With confidence, the limit. The picture is so symbolic here. If you observe, when you're confident, sky is the limit. With this, I end my session. I conclude the session. Wishing you all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Even though you told that reading skills are very important and to improve their communication skills, you also touched upon all the 4 skills: listening, speaking, reading, and writing, and the vocabulary, how important it is, and grammatical structures, or else the way how you need to speak, even the meaning changes, even sometimes homonyms, homophones also you touched upon. That's great practical experiences.
Thank you, sir.
There are a few questions, madam. 3 questions are there. How to improve these reading skills? Because now people say that fast reading is very important, and also you spoke more about reading is very important to improve their communication skills.
Yes, to emphasize, yes, reading is very important, but in this, I did not involve about fast reading or speed reading. No, reading has to be very conscious. This is to seek command over the language, isn't it? In that, speed reading is not going to work. Once you are a pro reader, you have the habit of possibly for 10 to 12 years, then probably, or you have to involve yourself in those special techniques for speed reading. Reading here in our session was put on more emphasis only about communication and the language command, which will enable you to communicate better.
There's one more question related to this reading skills. You emphasized on pronunciation. So is it better to go for a loud reading or silent reading?
Yeah, this is a good question. Somehow I missed this. I would definitely suggest loud reading initially. Loud reading, when you're doing this, your vocal cords also open up. And it is a practice which you can do it while reading, which will be helpful in your public speaking. When you're able to hear yourself, you're able to analyze where you're going wrong, where you have to improve yourself. What is your pronunciation? What is your voice pitch? Where you have to increase or decrease, or whatever analysis, the adjustments you have to make with yourself, you will be very conscious. You will be able to analyze yourself. So loud reading is definitely suggested initially, and slowly and gradually, definitely you would not go for loud reading because you're quite confident about yourself. Then you would like to go for fast reading as you suggested. It's about the practice.
There is a student, I don't know whether it's student or employee, he asks,
Okay.
I'm from Telugu medium background. If you want to improve
Oh.
reading and communication skills, can you share any easy tips?
Easy books. See, as I told you, when we are dealing with the children of age group of 9 to 10 or from 7 to 10, 7 years to 10 years, we suggest them to read storybooks. You know, these days, the Indian books, the books that are written by Indian authors as well, it consists of beautiful vocabulary. You can pick any book. A spiritual book is also fine, which is in English, which has good vocabulary, which is of your interest. Basically, for children as well, we tell the parents, choose a book which the child selects. Go for the book which the child selects. So I would like to repeat the same thing. You pick up a book of your interest, but you have to be very careful in choosing a book with good English language, not any random book. You should definitely going for a book which with good English language. Recently, one of the parent from in my class has come up with, I was suggesting Ruskin Bond, you know, Enid Blyton to my children for the age group and for the class 4. You know, a parent has suggested, why ma'am, why always English authors? Let us go for Indian authors as well. I visit Ramakrishna Math, and there are several books which speak about Vedas and all in English script. So why don't we go for that? And he has gifted me one book practically. And I was surprised to see the vocabulary which is being used in that book is marvelous. So I suggest any author, any person that you like, but please keep in mind the language is simple for you. As you say, you're from Telugu medium. So definitely you should be going for a simple language. And don't you worry about high vocabulary right away. Learn about the grammar in place, the grammar being in place in your sentences and in your communication. Do not be in a hurry to enrich your vocabulary right away. Go for simple books. I hope I have helped him with this.
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you so much for answering the queries asked by these people. I hope that now all the viewers who are watching on YouTube, you have benefited from this talk. And I'm sure that no, whatever
so.
the ma'am has suggested by Sarita Tiwari ma'am, we try to follow them and practice them. I'm sure that ma'am agrees with me if I say that practice is very important for improving
Very
their communication
important.
skills. And there is one more question, madam. Words are important or feelings are important in communication?
Words are important or?
Feelings. Words are important or feelings are important? I mean emotions.
How do you express emotions? How do you express your feelings? Through words, right? If you have got appropriate word to express your feelings or emotions, nothing more than that, you achieved your purpose. Your communication is effective. So definitely words are important to express your emotions or feelings.
That's a wonderful answer. That's a wonderful answer. Thank you so much, Sarita Tiwari ma'am, for making time in spite of a busy schedule. You have thrown a lot of light on reading skills, how they can improve their communication skills. Thank you for your insights about the areas where, how, and they can improve their language skills. As you also suggested the uh, readings, what are the readings that they need to read, how they can get inspired and motivated, and how they can improve their communication skills. As communications is the secret of anybody's success. And you also said
Absolutely.
that it's a buzzword now. If you want to be happy with yourself, you communicate effectively with yourself. At the same time, you should be able to communicate with others also effectively, as you
Absolutely,
rightly
sir.
mentioned. So thank you, Sarita ma'am. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the session.
Thank you,
Hope
sir,
all
for
the
the
viewers
opportunity.
Hope all the viewers enjoyed the session. If you like the video and share the video, subscribe the channel. I thank Sarita ma'am once again. Thank you very much for your wonderful session, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.